So this is where we left off last time. Feel free to start a new place or don't. It won't really matter, but I'm just gonna make it like it was before. Alright, so we have this new place here. We're gonna start to learn about scripting now. First of all, if you have the idea that scripting is difficult, I want you to get that out of your mind. Start with a fresh new perspective. I'm gonna show you how easy this all is. So what is scripting? Just like we use languages to communicate, programs need language to communicate also. In Roblox, we use the Lua programming language, capital L-U-A. The way it works is we write lines of code which are held in these things called a script, and the scripts then interpret that line of code. We normally put our scripts inside of server script service. All of these things, they're all known as services, and they all have a job to do. Like workspace holds all the things that are in the world right now, like the spawn location and the base plate. Lighting has to deal with the lighting and everything you see in the sky and stuff. And server script service is just a place to put your regular scripts in. That's all it is. To add a script, we're going to hover over this service, the server script service, and then this white circle with the cross will appear, and then we just want to click on that. And for me, the script is in the frequently used, but if you don't see it, you can scroll down or begin to write script. And then it should appear there. It's this white regular script that only says script. And go ahead and click on that. First thing we're going to do is right click on where it says script, and then we're going to rename it. Or you could just click it and hit the F2 key, and that will let us rename it. We're going to name it to practice script. Naming things is always important because you want to have good organization, since you want to remember what things are for, and if other people are looking at this, they're like, oh, this is the practice script. Now I don't have to read every line of code in here. I know it's the practice script. So always name things, it's good practice. A script always starts off with this little statement right here. This is known as a print function. What a print function does is just display this text. Right now we're inside the script. So if you ever want to go back to the regular world, you just click on the tab that has the name of your place right here. And then we can go back to the script by just clicking on the script tab. Also, if you like accidentally close out of it, it's alright. Just go back to the script in the Explorer window and double click it. Oh, that's how you get in and out of the script. To actually see the text displayed, we need to have the output window open. To do that, if you don't have it yet, go to the view tab, and then this one with this icon right here, that is the output. And if you hover over it, it'll say output at the bottom. And just clicking that on and on toggles it to appear and disappear. So let's have that open. And now when we hit play, we could either go to the test tab, click play, or we could hit it right up here, and it tells us the shortcut is F5. The script doesn't run until the game is actually running, and to run the game we can just hit play right here. And notice the output told us hello world exclamation mark. To stop it, again you can go to the test tab and hit the big red square, or just hit the red square at the tippity top right here, or the shortcut would be shift F5. So what is going on here? To understand this line of code, we have to understand these things called data types. A data type is just a category of information. I'll show you what I mean. For example, a number is a data type. You guys know what a number is, like 12, 4, 9.8, -4, 2/5. All of these are numbers, and you can see that they're orange. Pretty much all numbers are orange, and numbers are a data type. Another data type are strings, and the simplest way to think of strings is they're just text. Letters and characters and numbers can all be made into a string easily. An example of a string is right here. Everything inside these parentheses is a string. Notice how it's green? Strings are pretty much always green. The thing that makes a string is the quotation marks. If we get rid of those, notice how it's white. It's no longer a string. Let me show you some examples. This is an example of a string right here because it's surrounded by quotation marks and it's green, so you know it's a string. Now tell me, is this a string or a number, or is it anything at all? If you said that everything is a string and this is a number, you're wrong, because it's all within the quotation marks and it's all green, so it's all a string. Here's another question. What data type is this? If you said you don't know, I guess you're right, because it's not really a data type. If we were to put it like this, it'd be a string. But in Lua, writing out numbers like this is not anything. We have to use the actual numbers. This is a number. But what if we put quotation marks around it? It's green, so it's a string. That's right. It's pretty simple stuff once you get used to it. But now let's go over some more scripting terms. A variable is just a placeholder or a container for information. Variables can be changed. Think of variables as like a box. A box can contain anything you want in it. It could have a pizza, it could have a piece of chicken, it could have anything. Yeah, I'm hungry, okay? I'm a little hungry. Think of a variable like that. Maybe you want the box to hold a piece of chicken right now. That's fine. Maybe later you want it to hold pizza. That's fine. We can take the chicken out of that box and put the pizza in. That's basically how a variable works. For example, if we write box equal to a string called chicken, that's fine. We can change this to be whatever we want. We can make it pizza. We can make it milkshake. We can change this to whatever we want. It doesn't even have to be a food. It could be anything, obviously. We can even make it a number, anything we want. To make a variable, we have to do what's known as declaring a variable, which sounds way fancier than what it really is. This is just making a variable exist. If you watch Avatar: The Last Airbender, think of a firebender creating fire. He has to create that fire and then he can do whatever fancy stuff he wants with that fire. But you have to create that fire. The same thing with a variable. If you want to use a variable, you have to make the variable exist. And it's really easy to do. And then we can do all sorts of things with the variable. The way we do that in Roblox is we write local in front of it. For example, local box equals pizza. Now that box is attached to the string of pizza. Local is just us declaring the variable or like making it exist. Last thing I want to go over before we start getting into this is that there are local variables and global variables. Local variables are more limited in where they can be used, and global variables can be used in more places, but it's less efficient. So you want to get into the habit of making local variable whenever you get the chance. To make a global variable, you just do this to declare it. And to make it a local variable, you just do this. Just write local whenever. We'll get more into it in the future. But to avoid lag, it's better to use local variables. So quiz real quick, is this a local variable or a global variable? It is a global variable because it doesn't have the word local in front of it. How about the variable cat? Is this a local variable or a global variable? It is a local variable because it has the word local in front of it. It's pretty self-explanatory, man. I don't know what to say. Now we're going to declare some variables together. Doesn't that sound fun? First things first, we want to delete this line of code. We want to get rid of lines that we don't need in coding. You don't want useless stuff in your scripts. First thing we're going to do is declare a new variable. Let's see if you remember how to do it. And remember, I told you to use local variables whenever possible. So get in the habit of writing local in front of it. So this variable is going to be called myAnimal without any spaces. Let's see if you can do that. So the way that you do that is you just write local myAnimal without any spaces because variable names cannot have any spaces. And let's just go over the naming of variables. You can name your variable whatever you want, but let's go over some of the best practices. You want your variable name to be related to what you want it to do. For example, we want to write our favorite animal, so we named it myAnimal. We don't want to name this like my favorite color, and then we're going to make it equal to an animal. We want it to be related to what we want to do. Also, if you do something too generic, like local variable, and then set it equal to your favorite animal, that doesn't tell anyone anything. If someone else is working on your game, they're like, variable? Why is variable equal to seahorse? That doesn't make, I don't get it. Or if you're looking back at your code in the future, you're like, why did I make variable equal to moose? Doesn't make any sense. But if you name it myAnimal, then you'll be like, oh, my favorite animal, that's why I made this variable. Another thing to keep in mind is that your variable should be in camel case. Camel case just means that there's no spaces and the first letter is lowercase and every other word starts with the capital letter. For example, animal is the next word, so we made it start with the capital letter. Let me just give you some more examples. In this variable, we have lowercase at the start and then the next word is of, so we start that with the capital, and then face starts with the capital because it's the next word. Look at this variable and tell me what's wrong with it. You said this capital letter, you're right. There's nothing inherently wrong with doing it like this, but if you want to do the best practices, just keep this format. What about this? Is this okay? Like I said, you can do whatever you want, but typically instead of spaces, we just capitalize the next letter. And this totally isn't okay. You won't even be able to run this. You get an error. You see why it's called camel case? It's like you start low and then you get a hump and a hump and a hump like a camel. You see like a very long camel. So anyways, back to myAnimal. To assign a variable, use the equal sign. That means that whatever variable we wrote here will now be equal to whatever we write on this side of the equal sign. Again, we're going to make it a string. Write down your favorite animal. I'm going to say octopus, and I'll be talking about octopus, but obviously your animal is your animal. I used to love octopus, so Sav ruined them for me. She's like, they're just squids. They can just do everything a squid can do. Anyway, you remember that print function we used earlier? Well, let's use it again. To use it, you just write the word print and some parentheses, and then it'll autocomplete the closing one too. Remember how I said that everything inside there was a string? So as long as we write strings inside of the parentheses, we'll be good. It'll display it in the output. We could just go ahead and write octopus in here and then run it, and you see it prints out octopus just fine. But we could also just write myAnimal and play that, and it still writes octopus, you see? So when we assign myAnimal to equal octopus, what that's basically doing is, oh, whenever I see myAnimal anywhere else in the script, like right here, we can just go ahead and put its assigned value. And you might be thinking, this is so stupid. Why do I need variables? I can just write octopus inside the print statement or whatever lame animal you guys pick. I'll show you why. Let's say we want to have a script that prints octopus. What is this, 5 times? Okay, let's play it. Octopus, 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 octopus. Okay, yeah, that's fine. But wait, octopus suck. They're just squids. Now we have to go here line by line, write squid, and write squid again, and keep writing squid, writing squid. No, forget that. Forget all that. We can just write my animal, and then we could copy and paste this 5 times. And now you see it does the same thing as the other script did. Octopus, octopus, octopus. The difference is when we get tired of octopus and realize they're just squids, we can change it to squid. And notice we only had to change one thing. We don't have to change every single line. And that's what makes variables so important to use. It makes life way easier when you plan ahead. See how easy it was to change it to squid, 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 squid. We're going to get rid of all of this. What I want you to do first is declare 2 variables, one named first animal and one named second animal. See if you remember how to do that, and set them each equal to assign to an animal. So to do that, we just write local first animal equals, say octopus. Tired of saying octopus though, but it's okay. And then we do the same thing for the next one. Local second animal equals, I like jaguars. Now I'm going to show you how to combine strings. So we agree that this is equal to a string of octopus and this is equal to a string of jaguar. We can combine strings together. For example, let's print out first animal. To combine it to a second string, we just write dot dot, and then we can write our next string. So what this is going to do is going to combine the string of octopus and the string of jaguar into here, and it'll print it out. Let's see it in action. Octopus jaguar. That sounds like an insane animal, bro. So that's how you combine strings. And not to get too advanced, but you could even make like a local crazy animal equals, and then use the code we use to combine the animals. So our crazy animal is equal to whatever this animal is, which is an octopus, and whatever the second animal is, which is a jaguar. And when we print crazy animal, we get this new string made up of both animals, octopus, jaguar. So 2 dots, aka concatenation, works with strings no matter if they're like real strings or variables. And I'll show you what I mean by this. You could write I like, and then do the concatenation and write first animal. This is a regular string like we're used to, and then this is a variable which is assigned to a string, which basically works the same as a string. I like first animal. Can you predict what's going to be printed here? I like octopus. Saying it in singular sounds like I like to eat it, but I'd never eaten an octopus in my life yet, and I don't plan to. Now, I'm going to do one more little question for you, and then you're good to go. Okay, I wrote this giant print statement, which seems kind of intimidating at first, but if you break it down, I bet you could figure out what it does. So let me just explain it. This is just a regular string, I bet a, and it's going to combine my second animal, which is equal to jaguar. So it's going to be I bet a jaguar, and then it's going to combine this section of the string, could be a first animal, which is equal to an octopus. So this string combined would be I bet a jaguar could be a first animal, which is octopus, in a fight. And we play that, and it says I bet a jaguar could be an octopus. It should have been an octopus in a fight. And you see how like the words are together, like jaguar could and octopus in? That's my bad because I have to put a space in front of it so it's spaced out here. Because second animal is just jaguar with no spaces. So I have to put the spaces in here and in here. I bet a jaguar could be an octopus in a fight. So leave a comment saying what your sentence said. I want to see what you said. I hope you picked like an ant for a second animal and then like an elephant. So yeah, that's it.